here.
Right now.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Howdy, says Minnie Pearl. Welcome in on this Thursday show. Into the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau. Go with the home team. They are your home team. Excuse me 1 minute. Okay, all right. Now throat is cleared. And since we may have to have a tough conversation here, if we're going to be honest with each other, a tough conversation may be required here at the start of the show about Mississippi State basketball, considering what happened last night at home against Tennessee. We may have to have a tough conversation. So, I'm ready. Got the throat cleared. I just poured, you might even, if you look closely on the live stream, can y'all see that? You even see the steam coming out of my coffee cup? Yep, you can see it. See the steam? Yep. That's hot coffee from High Point Roasters in New Albany, Mississippi. So, I'm ready, I think, to have the conversation. And it may not be a fun one. So let's go. What else are we going to do on a Thursday before the Super Bowl, huh? Welcome into the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau, go with the home team. They are your home team. Farm Bureau across the great state of Mississippi. That's your hometown heroes, your local Farm Bureau insurance agents. And then when you look at what's left, okay, so you look at where state is in basketball, you look at what's left, it may require a tough conversation. All right, so I'm inviting you, don't leave me hanging, okay? Tough conversations are hard enough when it's between me and you and when all of us are trying to get down to the bottom of something. It's really tough if it's left up to one person to do all the talking. Okay, so there's lots of ways for you to be a part of the show, and I hope you will be. Comment on the live stream. Hey to y'all, if you're on the live stream on YouTube or Facebook or Twitch, however you're watching the live stream, tuning in that way, just type in your comment, post it, and I'll see it right here in one place. Or better yet, if you're listening on the radio, text me on the Country Please and text line. It's 885-ESPN. It's a 601 number, 885-ESPN. If you need the number itself, it's 885-3776. That's the number to text. A great way for you to be a part of the show. And so I hope you'll take advantage of that. And call me on the Davini phone. Bill's back today. And so we're clicking on all cylinders after getting to enjoy the company of Beaver yesterday. So y'all call Bill, then talk to me. The way you do it, just call the Davini phone. Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson, your Kubota dealer.
He didn't mess everybody up too bad yesterday.
No, it was actually pretty good. Good old Beaver.
Yeah, I was listening to most of the show.
We had some good laughs with Beaver at the beginning of the show. It was good to get to catch up with him. I don't get down there that often, see him y'all in person, so it's just good to hear his voice every now and then, you know. But glad you're back too, Bill. Glad everything went well. So y'all call Bill, and then he'll put you on with me, and then you can talk to everybody else. Number to call, 995-1059. State's out of the tournament. They're out. And there are two types of miracles that could get Mississippi State basketball into the tournament. Okay. One is very obviously, very matter-of-factly, go win the SEC men's tournament. Could they do it? Maybe. Is it likely? No. Have other teams in the past gone and won it when it wasn't likely? Yes. You know, you play the tournament, there's always a chance. Okay, so that's, it doesn't matter who you are, you win the SEC tournament, you're in the NCAA tournament, that's one option. The only other option is to basically go on a miraculous run here at the close of the regular season, and I just kind of, you almost feel like even with that, and I'm trying my best, y'all, to look at this very matter-of-factly. And I know that nuance, nobody wants to hear nuance after the guy gets on the radio, me, and says they're out of the tournament. I'm just going, you look at what's left for State. They've got 8 games remaining, and 5 of those are on the road. And it's a team that hadn't won a road game all year, a true road game. They've got 2 wins in the non-conference in the early part of the year that were away from Humphrey Coliseum in neutral site stuff, and one of those was overtime, okay, against somebody like Richmond or whatever it was. Outside of that, true road games, not a single win. And you're about to play 5 of your, do I have this right? Yeah, 5 of your remaining 8 games on the road. Okay, factor this in for State also, and I'm coming to your comments, I promise, but factor this in also. One of the 3 remaining home games at Humphrey Coliseum is against who? Top-ranked Auburn, number 1. What's the chances they win that game? Slim. Be a major upset. That's why I called it a miracle. So in 8 remaining games, 5 of the 8 on the road, they hadn't won a road game all year. They'd have to go on a miraculous winning streak to move themselves back onto the bubble. Listen to me, y'all. All this stuff, what was it? Last night during the ball game, here's a graphic that says so-and-so says Mississippi State's one of the first 4 out. That was prior to last night's conclusion. Saying State was one of the first 4 out. First 4 out, you might as well be one of the first 40 out. What's the difference? You're out. They're putting 68 teams in there. Okay? And to go, okay, well, had they won last night, we'd be having a different conversation. Sure, we would. If they had won last night over Tennessee, we'd be having a different conversation. But the conversation is still, even if they'd won last night, what is the conversation? It still is this. Okay, are they still a part of the first 4 out? Or are they closer to the bubble now? Because winning last night's not going to automatically put them in. Certainly with what they have left coming up. So the point is, I think I'm just being honest, given the resume, even prior to last night's game, they're out. I think they've been out of the tournament for a while, regardless of a lot of the talk out here. Okay, so what does that all mean? They're fixing to go back-to-back to LSU and Alabama. If you've beaten Alabama once, Alabama's a different team in Tuscaloosa. They put up 90-something last night in Oxford and won. LSU, very talented. You're going to go to Baton Rouge. They're very talented. They're not coached that well, frankly, and they have not been consistent, but they're better at home. You're going back-to-back to Baton Rouge and then Tuscaloosa. Then you're going to play back-to-back games against Missouri. Host them once, go up there. Okay, so here's a question. Will this State team pick up its first road win of the year at Missouri? Okay, well, even if you do that, it's not a great road win. It's just your first. And it's in the context of all these other games you're having to play in this closing stretch. Back-to-back at LSU and Alabama on the road. You go to South Carolina. You're going to host number 1 Auburn. State's best chance all year long to win a road game at this point is at Missouri coming up in another week, and then or more than a week, and then the last game of the year, it's at Texas A&M. It's the 2 best chances to win road games. So that's why I'm saying it'd be miraculous, even if they won them all. I think even if they win all these, all in the world it's going to do would take State back to the bubble conversation. That's all it would do. I'm serious. If they won out, I think it'd take them back to the bubble. Well, and that's, I shouldn't say that because number 1 Auburn's in there. You do something, but that's why I called it miracle to start the conversation. One miracle is go win the SEC tournament you're in. The other one is some miraculous finish. Okay, you win a whole bunch of these games, including knock off number 1 Auburn, to get yourself back in a bubble conversation. That's miraculous too. In other words, they're out. You know it. I know it. They know it. So with that being the reality, what is the state of the program? And they've got a season left to play, and there are games coming up, and it's not time for the players or the coaches to be worried about what the state of the program is. They're week to week, game to game, just trying to win as many games as they can pile up. But we've seen to this point kind of who they are and what the team is. And that is a very middle of the road, middle of the pack SEC team. SEC, one of the best basketball conferences, and State is smack dab in the middle. And that's why you have seen they have not won a single road game in the SEC. They've lost close games. They've been good enough to push a few teams, but that's it. They pushed Kentucky on the road. Maybe their best effort of the year, but it ends in an overtime loss. An 8-point loss here, an 8-point loss there, a 10-point loss there, a 7-point loss here. It's enough to push people up there and walk out of there having gotten beat by about 3 possessions. That's what they are. And so what is the conversation now? Let me give you an example of the conversation that's happening. All right. Here on the text line, Red's Dog. Thank Howland for his time and kindly ask him to retire. That's Res Dog on the Country Pleasing text line. H Day, Country Pleasing text says, I'm a state alum and I'm a realist. How far do we really think the Dogs would go in the NCAA tournament? Be honest. With one guy who can score, you got one guy who can hit jump shots, and that's Brooks, and you got another guy who can score at the basket, and that's Molinar. And I know we can talk about Tolu all day long, but week to week they haven't had him. We don't know. And outside of that, that's it. You don't have a single outside shooter, not one. You're not winning in the NCAA tournament. Playing half-court defense and half-court offense. Bulldog West says, Matt, I believe Coach Howland's biggest problem has been his recruiting or lack thereof. Well, he didn't have a shooter. Not a consistent threat. Unnamed texter says our basketball program has gone to hell in a handbasket. Thanks for your text. That's not the scenario at all. I'll be honest, I wouldn't describe it as that. I mean, their record says otherwise, and they're in a very good conference. I wouldn't describe it as that, honestly. I remember what it was like before Howland was hired. I remember what it was like after Stansberry and Rick Ray coached for a few years, and that was what you're describing. Not now. I mean, it's competitive now. They are not an embarrassment by any stretch. It's just whatever it takes to step over that line and become one of the top 5 or 6 teams in the SEC. They can't do it, have not been able to do it. We're not talking about at the bottom of the league at all. Jeremy texted on the Country Please and text says, Matt, I wish I had something productive to offer on MSU basketball, but frankly, I just don't care about it. After the rules changes a few years back, made it hard to watch, and I've slowly stopped watching it altogether. Well, let me, and then I'm going to come to the live stream. There's a bunch of comments here on the live stream, and I want to get to some of those, and we'll get to a key phone call. But I want to give you some information first, okay? And we'll see if it helps or hurts the conversation. The first guy to comment, by the way, on the YouTube live stream was a bit ago. It was Sven. He was in right away, and he said, Hail State, everybody. And to be honest, I didn't expect much from our hoops team. By the way, Auburn lost to the Razorbacks. Yeah, we talked about that yesterday. It's a tough league. I mean, it really is. It's just State, over the last 3-4 years, they don't have many of those wins. I mean, we're sitting here talking about, is that win earlier this year in Humphrey Coliseum over a ranked Alabama team at the time the best win in the last 3-4 years? Really, we're talking about that. And then Richard told me on YouTube, he said, this will not be a tough conversation. It won't be fun, but it won't be tough at all. Actually, it's pretty simple. And I think that's how a lot of people feel about it. Coming back to some of your comments, but this is what I was going to point out, and then I'll come to the phone. So when you look at State, that's what's left. Okay, they're sitting there right now, 14-9 overall. In SEC play, wins over Arkansas, Georgia, Alabama, Ole Miss, South Carolina, all at home. Losses in SEC play, at Ole Miss, at Florida, at Kentucky in overtime, at Arkansas, and then last night at home against Tennessee. All of them in that 8 to 9 point range, it seems like, except for that embarrassing loss at Texas Tech, which is non-SEC. And then the other thing I was going to point out too, let's give Ben Howland some credit, okay? With what he did and what he took over, it was horrible. First 2 years were rough. But in that third year, they had a 25-win team, didn't get in the NCAA tournament, went 9-9 in the SEC, but went to the NIT semifinal. Followed that up, the 18-19 season, got in the NCAA tournament with a 10-8 SEC record, went 23-11 overall, got in the NCAA tournament, got beat in the first ball game. And then the next year, you know, you remember 2020, they had Perry and Woodard and had a really good basketball team, 20 wins, went 11-7 in the SEC, and then the season got canceled. They didn't get to have a postseason, but he had them in a position they were probably going to be in the NCAA tournament that year. Followed that up with last year's runner-up, went deep in the NIT. So one trip to the NCAA, probably would have been two, didn't get to have it because of COVID. A couple of NITs, and the problem is, I mean, you're sitting here staring at last year. State was 8-10 in SEC play, went 8-10 in conference play. Of course, went to the NIT. You're sitting there at 5-5 right now, and with the games I told you that are left, find me the 3 wins. They'd have to get 3 wins with what's left to get back to the same conference record they had last year, which got them in the NIT. And I don't know where the 3 wins are. What, Missouri at home, Vandy at home, and then you're not beating Auburn at home, so you got to pick up one on the road, which would be the first road game you've won all year in the SEC. Just don't see it happening. So this has been a step backward, no question. With a guy on your team that's the best free throw shooter in the SEC and one of the top 3 scorers in Molinar. All right, Chris is back on line 1 of the Davini phone. Hey, Chris, thanks for calling. What's up?
Oh, nothing much, man. How are you?
Doing great. I was thinking about you the other day. Glad to know you're healthy and still listening.
Yeah, I've been away from a while, just kind of going through the motions and life problems, but it is what it is. So I think what you said perfectly right. I think it's cut and dry. I mean, this has to be the most talented team that I believe we've seen at Mississippi State since Ben Howland got there. And where is the drive from DJ Jeffries that we saw last year? He single-handedly beat us in the NIT. I mean, where is that? I just don't think that whatever he is doing is ringing the bell with these young guys. I don't. I think it's outdated.
Well, and it certainly isn't good offensively. You know, like they've been pretty consistent at times. They play good defense, but even statistically, you look it up, it ain't like they're leading the league in any defensive category. You know, and they rebound pretty well.
But Matt, the best defensive player he's got sits on the bench half the time. I called earlier when it first started, and when Matthews is sitting on the bench, the defense is gone. Like it's not there. Especially if you don't have Tulu Smith in the game. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And he doesn't play him as much as he was last year. And that kid was coming out, and we all thought, hey, this is, you know, the NIT showed up. Hey, look, man, he's going to be great next year. And then where's he been? And I hate to say it, but if they don't get rid of him and they don't make a splash hire, half these guys are gone.
Well, but see, the thing about it is, Chris, with the transfer portal the way it is, I would imagine, you know, if you make a change, you start, even when you bring in a coach, you're going to start your roster over in some ways. I mean, you know, you make a coaching change, guys are going to transfer.
Well, who's the coach at Memphis?
Penny Hardaway.
That's what I thought. So, wouldn't you think that Mississippi State would be an upgrade from there? Just an opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, it maybe kind of depends on who you're asking, but yeah, I mean, certainly, you know, from a conference standpoint, but from a basketball standpoint, basketball fan base, interest in the sport of college basketball, no, it's not. The SEC is a bigger deal, sure, Maybe the schedule you play gives you maybe a better opportunity to get in the tournament. I don't know, but Memphis, the fan support and the interest among the Memphis fans for college basketball is far and away better than at Mississippi State, even when it was good at State. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that, and that's true. But what I'm going to say is this, is that you're going to have to make a hire like that. You're going to have to go get a sitting Power 5 coach, not one of these retired guys, not Rick Stansberry. I don't care what Mississippi State fans say. Don't bring him back. And, I mean, you're going to have to go get somebody like that to re-energize this fan base, or you might as well just go get another Rick Ray, because you're not really doing anything about it if you don't.
Yeah.
You don't get the fans behind it. But, hey, look, I've been saying it since, right at the first part of basketball season? It's almost baseball time, baby. Don't worry about it. We got reinforcements coming.
It sure is.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Chris. Good to hear you. Thanks for calling. Yeah, baseball. A week from tomorrow. And somebody told us this week, softball's starting tomorrow too, so spring sports are kicking up. Yeah, the state's in an odd spot. Now, season not over, but I do think that's the reality. They are out of the tournament. I think they've been out. And, even if they win last night, we're still just having bubble conversations. So, they're out. What's left? Have to have a miraculous finish to get back in the conversation, or just go win the SEC tournament you're in. Otherwise, you're out. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'll put it that way. I'm Matt. Stick around.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big bird.
It's back to the Matt Wyatt Show on the 50,000 watt sports powerhouse. ESPN 105.9 The Zone and streaming.
Check it out online now
at thezone1059.com.
All right, back with you. Thanks for tuning in on this Thursday. Let's see here, some of the comments. Richard mentioned on YouTube, he said the basketball program has had too much talent and too few results. I think you know what I mean by that. Jason on Facebook says we got beat by a well-coached team. State has too much ISO ball, and we look lost offensively at times. When the going gets tough, we stop playing team ball. Will said on YouTube, want to talk about underperforming, though? It could be worse. We could be like the Memphis Tigers. This is in regards to the comparison that Chris was making. Joy said, why can't we score in the last 2 minutes of the game? We play close, blow it at the end of the game. Yeah, the final last night in that Tennessee game was 72-63, right? And with around 2 minutes left, it was 63-61. It was a 2-point game, 63-61 with like 2 minutes left. And you get the pull away by Tennessee. And when it goes to 0, all things included, you look up and they went, okay, so in that last 2 minutes, since it was 63-61, they outscored State 9-2. It's just whatever it takes to close some stuff out, they don't have it. Overtime, Kentucky. You look at they played a really tough ball game on the road at Arkansas the other night, lose by 8, 63-55. And that's the other thing you talk about your offense. Look at the offensive totals in road games. Now, last night was a home game, but they go score 55 on the road at Arkansas. Score 50 on the road at Texas Tech. Put up 74, that was great, but it was an overtime ball game at Kentucky, so a little different. Scored 72 in a road loss at Florida. Scored 72 in a road loss at Ole Miss. Comparatively. Okay, so we can talk about State playing defense and rebounding. Thing about it is, you're sitting here with your resume having a road loss at Florida, not a very good team, and a road loss at Ole Miss, not a very good team. And in both of those, you go on the road and give up 80 or more points. So those home teams that you lost to had 80 or more. How many times has State put up 80 or more points in a home game this year? Scored 88 against Georgia. That's it. Period. It's just very average. That's just what it is. And you're looking up at the totality here, it's just very average. I'm sorry, they scored 81 against Arkansas. Okay. So we got to include that one too. So we talk about, they've won some home games, and they do limit the other team, but offensively, it's just not there. It's just not there. I mean, to his credit, no wonder Ben Howland is constantly preaching defense to that team. They can't score. They don't have a single 90-point ball game, do they? Can you find one? Not one. Alabama goes on the road last night, puts up 90 on the road at Ole Miss in their gym. A few more comments here. Jimmy said you can't get beat the way they got beat by Texas Tech and make the tournament. It was over then. Well, maybe in conjunction with everything else, but I don't think that statement in a vacuum is necessarily true every time. Now, Will is positive. He says, I think we're in if we win out. Okay, so if you win out, if you win 8 in a row to finish the year, including a win over number 1 Auburn, we probably are having a different conversation. I guess what I was saying is going on some miraculous run does not really include winning out. They're not winning 8 games in a row when 5 of the 8 are on the road and they hadn't won a road game all year. So that's one of those is what it is deals. So it's just not happening. And when you consider everything at stake, you consider what Howland took over when he took it. Has he improved it? Yes. Do they recruit better than they did? Yes. Do they win more games than they did? Yes. Are they more competitive than they were? Yes. And it's like this. He took over. They were bad. Had a little swell there, right? NIT, and in the NCAA tournament the next year, missed out on 20 because of COVID. Out goes Reggie Perry and Woodard to the NBA. Back down we go. And now you're dipping again. Now you're sitting here with an 8-game stretch that probably in reality means you're not even going to have the SEC records you had last year. And that's with more pieces of the puzzle and an older Molinar. Statistically, what's curious to me is like when you go to the stats at for SEC basketball at secsports.com, the official league website, in football season, the team stats are arranged first, and you got to scroll all the way down to find the individual stats. But it's in baseball the same way, but in basketball, they flip it. In basketball, they flip it. They do all the individual stats first, and then come the team stats at the bottom. Why do they do that? Why is basketball different than the other sports? It shouldn't be. It's a team sport. Team comes first. It ought to on the stats page also. At any rate, State is exactly in the middle in scoring offense in the SEC. Out of 14 teams, they're sitting here at number 7. Scoring defense, how much you give up? State, where are they? 7 out of 14. Just right smack dab in the middle. That's where they are. Just barely good enough to not be in the bottom half of the SEC, just right smack dab in the middle. Scoring margin, they're at number 8 in the SEC. Free throw percentage, they're at number 6, just right there in the middle. Now, they're up there in field goal percentage, but why is that? They don't take any threes. They don't hit them. And in terms of defensively, we can talk about them playing good defense, but field goal percentage defense, they're 10th in the SEC out of 14 teams. They're near the bottom. Shooting threes, defending threes, offensively, they're at 7th in the SEC, 7 out of 14. 3-point defense, perimeter defense, 11th out of 14 teams. I think the only category they lead the league in is defensive rebounds. I think they lead the league in that category. Molinar individually leads the league in free throw percentage. He is the 3rd leading scorer in the SEC at 18 points a game after last night's ball game. Let me hit some text because I don't want to get too far behind you. I've got thoughts that we need to get to here. So let's do that now. Hoghead Cheese on the Country Pleasing text line. He says the good news that baseball season is on the way. Mailman David said middle of the conference, plays in a good conference, can't seem to find enough to get over the top teams. Are we talking about the basketball team or the football team? Well, yeah, it's kind of but I'll be honest with you, David. I mean, yeah, those broad terms, but you play so many more games in basketball, number one. Number two, 68 teams are getting in the NCAA tournament. If these teams are getting in the NCAA tournament, we're having a totally different conversation. I'm just being honest. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. But to me, when you play a 12-game schedule and you win 7 in football in a conference like the SEC, that's a whole lot better than finishing 7th or 8th out of 14 teams in basketball. And not getting into a field of 68 postseason. That's just me. And frankly, when we're talking about recruiting and everything else, you look at Mississippi State. Okay, you say middle of the conference, can't seem to get over the top teams. Is it harder to get over and get up there with the top teams in football, or is it harder to do it in basketball? Which is it? I'll tell you this, you can do it in basketball. You can't do it in football. You can't recruit like Georgia and Alabama and now Texas A&M in football. Can't. Unless you get out the checkbook. And Nick says, I propose we just put a Top Golf in the hump. Well, listen, you mentioned the hump, Nick, and that's the other thing. You know, yesterday on social media, out pops a lot of some drawings and renderings of the new updates that are going to start having the renovations of the hump. They're going to turn like the hump into kind of a new place. It may look some of the same on the outside, but on the inside, it's really going to look totally different. Big time renovations, new entrances, and a new look on the inside, new seating, premium seating, all kinds of stuff. They're going to renovate the hump. That stuff gets out there yesterday. You know, if you're going to go down that path, you also have to consider kind of what's the trajectory of this thing. St. Louis Vic says, Matt, is there any fire to go along with the fan smoke that Mississippi State's going to look to hire Jackson State's women's basketball coach, Tamika Reed? Yeah, I don't know about that, Vic. That's the first I'm hearing of it. So I don't really know. Hoghead Cheese says, when you're in the middle, that means you're mediocre. Jason in Flagstaff said, I'd rather keep Howland than hire Penny Hardaway. That guy's not a good coach. They were last 4 out, according to Lenardi, last bracketology he put out before COVID shut down the 2020 season, talking about State. He said State most likely wasn't going to make the tournament either without making the SEC final. So, okay. See, and that was weird because the year before they were a 10-win SEC team and got in. That year that COVID shut it down, they had 11 wins in the SEC. And I was thinking they had a better shot of getting into that postseason, but maybe they didn't. It's just stale, and it's another stale year with 8 games to go. It's what it is. All right. Move to some other stuff next. I'm Matt. Stick around.
It's time for the Blue Health Minute, brought to you by Blue Cross.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Arrived today. Genes do come true. Thank you, Blue Delta. Yeah, jeans do come true. That's what the bag says. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Raw denim jeans, custom fit, hand-tailored in Tupelo, Mississippi, my hometown. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase. Again, that's if you listen to me, you can use discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, and at checkout, you're going to get a 10% discount off your order. So I just went online, ordered them, BlueDeltaJeans.com. A couple weeks ago, went in. I didn't go get measured. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are at my doorstep a couple weeks later. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Nice. I'm happy. I've known the Blue Delta team for years, and I'm thrilled to have these guys on as a sponsor of this show. Blue Delta's virtual tailor is a fun and easy way to get yourself into the best fitting pair of jeans you're ever going to own. Bet you never thought you'd get a butt shot out of me, huh? How about that? Just answer the questions and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions. It's amazing how they do it. They will fit perfectly. You're not going to find better material and better feeling pants, period, anywhere. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn. I promise you that. And I know that you are going to love them too. Make sure you use the code. And remember, jeans do come true.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Let me tell you about an ice cream can't be beat.
The very best tasting you can eat.
It's Meadow, 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 Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. Go to your ice cream man today, and here's the word that you should say. Oh, give me Meadow, Meadow, Meadow Smooth Freeze Meadow Gold. And remember, folks, Meadow Gold
is mighty good.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
6 o'clock, dinner time. Thank goodness for Jello instant pudding.
Yes, thank goodness for Jello instant pudding. The terrific busy day dessert you can make at the very last minute. See how quick and easy. Just add it to cold milk and beat it up. That's all. By the time you're ready to eat it, it's all ready for you. Jello instant pudding, made by the famous Jello folks. So creamy, so nourishing, so delicious. No other instant pudding is quite the same. Stock your shelves with all 7 flavors. The good busy day dessert, Jello instant pudding.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show. Talking more great sports for you, Mississippi.
Online transmission is ready, sir.
Live online at thezone1059.com and
Keep your radio turned on.
to ESPN 105.9, The Zone.
All right, back with you. Just a couple other things here. I did want to point this out. It's an interesting question, I think. If you wanted to look at the Ben Howland era so far at Mississippi State and boil it down to something more specific, other than just going wins and losses, season trend, kind of fan support's flat and all this, But if you were to go a little more specific and really dive in, now it might take a sure enough basketball coach or X's and O's to look at it, but just an observation. What do y'all think about this? Specifically, what about a shooter? Who is, if I were to ask you, who is in the Ben Howland era, who's the best outside shooter that he's coached at Mississippi State? Anybody come to mind? Who is that? Okay, let me ask you another one. You look at this Mississippi State team this year. Molinar and his ability to drive. If he wants to create the basket, he'll do it. And hitting all those free throws. And Tolu when he's healthy. And Brooks. Garrison Brooks is in the top 10 or 15 in rebounding categories and can hit mid-range jump shots, play around the rim and in the paint, at least around the paint and all that. But my question to you is, what kind of difference on this Mississippi State team would one consistent outside shooter and threat to hit threes make? What kind of difference would that make? One. I'm talking about a relatively consistent. What do you mean by that, Matt? Here's what I mean. 3-point field goals, 3-point shots made in the SEC. State doesn't have a single player in the top 15. Not one. Doesn't have a single player in the top 15 of 3-point shots made. We're not talking percentage. We're just talking about making them. They don't have one guy in the top 15. You go, well, there's a lot of players in the SEC. Yeah, well, hang on. Here's the thing about that. I'm not even going to give you the names. I'm going to just tell you where the players are from in the top 15 3-point shooters in the SEC. Bama, Tennessee, Kentucky. This is in order, starting at number 1 through 15. Bama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Arkansas, Georgia, LSU, Florida, Auburn, Vandy, South Carolina, Bama, Ole Miss, Auburn, South Carolina, Florida. Let me tell you what I noticed about that. Everybody's got at least one shooter in the top 15 in the SEC from three-point range except Mississippi State. Everybody. Well, I'll take it back. A&M doesn't have one. Okay, so we found one. Everybody else has got at least one guy in the top 15 in the conference hitting three-point shots. And the good teams have more than one. Bama's got two guys in the top 15. Auburn's got two in the top 15. Heck, even Florida has got two in the top 15 in three-point shots. Georgia's got a guy in the top 15 in three-point shooting, just making the shots. Ole Miss has got a guy in the top 15. And you look at, we talk about talent and everything State's team has. If they just had one guy who would go out and hit shots outside the three-point line, enough to be in that group right there, the top 15, I want you to think about the difference it would make on this team. To me, that's a huge difference. And that's kind of, and when I ask the question, people go, you can't answer it. Who's the best outside shooter that Ben Howland has coached at Mississippi State in his time? Is it Tyson Carter? Okay. We'll see where things go. I think I'm doing it right this time. Over on the phone line, the Davini Equipment phone line, Davini Equipment, Madison and in Jackson. Get ready. I did it right this time. JSU 1 on line 1. How are you?
I sure gonna tell you play my theme music.
It took me several months to get it right, but I'm glad I finally hit the button in time. How are you doing?
Oh yeah, done pretty good. But now they need to take Tamika Reed name out their mouth.
Okay, don't talk about it.
Leave her at Jackson State why she doing her good job over there.
She really is doing a great job, and Bill has been telling me about it and reminding me about it because Bill, who works at the radio station, and they carry some of the games, and so he hears, and of course he hears Rob J talking about them and everything. So he's been giving me the updates that they're winning a lot of games, and apparently she's got that program rolling.
They undefeated last year, and they undefeated so far this year in SWAC.
How about that? Yeah, they're doing a heck of a job for sure.
Them ladies can play.
Yeah, they definitely can. Well,
that's what I was calling for.
Okay, so the message is stop talking about Coach Reed. Just
there you go. Get it out of your mouth.
Okay, all right, we'll do it. Thanks for the call.
All right.
He is a good one.
His whole purpose of the whole call was just get her name out of your mouth. Leave her where she is.
I heard they were talking about her, about getting her.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't they?
I mean, they should. She's that good.
Yeah. Why wouldn't they? It makes a lot of sense. I don't care what conference you're in. At your level of competition in college basketball, you go undefeated in conference play back-to-back years, then you know what you're doing for sure. For sure. Back over to Chris. He's back with us on line 2. Hey, Chris, what's up?
Okay, so I got one question for you, and then I got one more comment as I leave. When was the last time Mississippi State had a more than decent three-point shooter since 1996?
Yeah, more than decent. I mean, that's an interesting way to say it.
Like, dominant. I mean, you want to go dominant to more than decent, just really good. Because, I mean, you look at it, Rayburn Johnson might be one of the better, and he was just like Barry Stewart. They were very streaky. They were not consistent. I mean, just streaky. Because Barry Stewart might hit 7 in 3 or 4 games in a row and then may not hit another one for a month.
Mm-hmm.
And Rayburn Johnson was the same way, and then when they did have the hot hand, they wouldn't feed him. And then the other thing I was going to say, I was trying to say it, and I guess I waited a little too long earlier. I'm going to make a hot take and a hot prediction right now. Mark it down, February the 10th. We're going back-to-back in baseball.
Back
Y'all
to
have a great
back.
day.
Thank you, Chris.
I like it.
He said it on February 10th, and it was about this time last year. He said, we're going to win the national championship in baseball. Well, I'll tell you this, Chris, I'll take it. I'll certainly take it. I'm not even trying to be selfish and say this team for state must go back to Omaha and win the whole thing. Just go back to Omaha. I had so much fun following that team and watching them play in Omaha last year. I just want to go back. I enjoyed that so much. They had a nice hotel room. You could walk everywhere you went. The weather was phenomenal. It was a little hot, but it was phenomenal. You could rent scooters, ride around town, and they got all these parks and lakes and nice people everywhere. Of course, the team was winning. That helps. Made the trip to the Field of Dreams. Loved driving through that part of the country. Man, you get me up there in Tennessee and Missouri and in that area, driving through and around St. Louis. I just loved all of it. I want to go back.
Come on, team. Matt wants to go back.
And here's the thing about it, too. I mean, the program has been to – so that last year was what, their third – was it their third straight or their fourth straight?
I think it was the third straight.
Last year was the third straight, so they're trying to make it four.
Somebody will tell us.
Yeah, and they'll tell us. I think last year was the third straight trip to Omaha and maybe their fourth straight trip to the Super Regionals. That would make sense, wouldn't it?
Could be.
Let me count that up.
They've been there a lot.
20 got canceled. 19, 18. Yeah. Something like that. Anywho, it ain't like they haven't given me plenty of chances, okay? I mean, I need to stop being so spoiled. Anthony from Tupelo, he said maybe DJ Stewart, he'd make a huge difference. You know, and look, with some of the shooters that we talk about that they've had, guys who could hit outside shots, it was just so streaky. It's not what you would call consistent. Look, and I'm going to be honest, even Tyson Carter. Tyson Carter was such an excellent player, especially as a senior, and would have some games where he'd hit some threes and get hot. But you basically have had the same thing this year. A few times somebody get really hot. I think Tyson was a better shooter than some. But Eric Holman, he would at times get hot from the outside, but it was maybe once every 4 or 5 games. You know, that'd be the same thing for DJ Stewart. But they just haven't had the night in, night out guy that you gotta weight your defense on guarding this guy on the perimeter, because if not, on a bad night, he's going to hit 4 threes. You know, you don't have that. And with a lot of the other pieces, they sure could use it. And when I bring up a stat like that one, look, not one play, you don't have a single guy who's made enough threes to even be in the top 15 in the SEC. When every other team's got, when we're talking about bad teams like Georgia and Ole Miss and some of them, they've got a guy in the top 15. You just have one guy who hits enough from the outside to add that element on the offensive end of the floor. It would just make such a huge difference with the other pieces they have. That's the one specific thing they are really, really missing. All right, basketball, shut the door on that. We're moving ahead to other things in Hour 2, including previewing the Super Bowl. Picks on that one coming up in Hour 2. Stay tuned.
Now's the time to get a great deal on select Kubota compact tractors.
You see where mattress...
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
and earn extra income. You can do the same. Opportunities are endless to move up the ladder in every sport, so go to MISSHSAA.com for complete details.
WRKS Pickett's Jackson.
Time.
It's time to get back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Live in the studio.
Online at thezone1059.com and on your radio at ESPN 105.9 The Zone.
Hey, hour 2 of the show. Welcome to the Bureau, the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. Farm Bureau Insurance, go with the home team. They are your home team at Farm Bureau. Quick note on something. I won't be here tomorrow. I'll be out tomorrow. So today's the last show of the week. And then we'll have the Super Bowl on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to Sunday. Get to spend some time with the people at First Baptist in Houston, Mississippi. And I got family that goes to church there, so be a part of their service and then come back on Sunday night, watch the Super Bowl, and then be back with you all on Monday and talk about it. So if you want to be a part of the show, I hope you will be. Lots of ways for you to communicate. Drop a comment on the live stream or on the text line or give me a call on the phone. We've been active on all three. Regarding State's last consistent outside shooter, Danny said Darrell Wilson and Rayburn Johnson are the only 2 3-point shooters MSU has ranked in the top 40 all-time in the SEC. You know, and you know what? Like, when you really think about it, Danny, it's like that's something that also, it not only, I think, it plays a huge factor in wins, losses. Yes. You know, how hard you are to defend for other teams because, you know, you can't just, you know, focus on the rim. You know, everything's got to be spread out. There's this outside threat. It's not only the balancing the offensive effort sort of thing, but it's also an excitement thing too, right? Right? Look, I'm going to be honest with you. We talk about fan support and getting into it, but it's basic math. I mean, when you're a State fan, I've experienced it, right? The last few years, and you have too, when you're a State fan and all of a sudden you go down by 3 or 4 points, you know, well, now we're 2 possessions down. Well, no, you're not. You can hit a 3 and tie it up. No, you can't because we don't shoot them. Right? You start doing the math. That's what I do. When I watch State play, my math is different than other fans. Because the 3-point threat's just not there. If you hit one, it's a bonus. It takes the excitement out of it. I'm being honest. Now, having said that, if they played the style they play and they won all the time, it'd be exciting, sure. But man, I mean, you want to see some shots made. And Richard said on YouTube, sorry, Tigers. That would be the Jackson State Tigers. Richard says, sorry, Tigers. Tamika Reed is who the Lady Bulldogs need. Very interesting. Let me hit some of these texts too, and then we'll do our Super Bowl predictions. Get those loaded up. Who's going to win? I'll tell you who other people think is going to win. Bill was telling me who the guy who's placed the largest bet ever in the history of sports gambling thinks is going to win. We'll give you some of that info coming up. Res Dog says, how can a college player and or team be bad at free throws? I mean, it's free throws. Yeah, I don't know. Just have to experience shooting them to know how you miss them. But State's not that bad at them. And they got the number 1 free throw shooter in the SEC in Molinar. And he can get to the rim. You just need more than that. Jason in Flagstaff says there hasn't been a shooter, and largely because there's no design in the offense to get open shots. When's the last time you've seen a screen, pick, and give and go? It's all one guy going to the basket, and if not, someone launches a prayer, is what he says. Hoghead Cheese says maybe we can get Richard Williams interested in coming back. Well, he's at all the games. He's calling them on the radio. Does an unbelievable job on the radio, if you ask me. Matt Daddy's pointing back to Shane Powers, who was a guy that could hit the outside shot. Steven said, I wish basketball the best, but I'm ready for baseball. Enjoy the show. Thanks, Steven. I am too. And everybody else is ready for baseball too. And it does not, the expectations are up there. They are every year if you're a Mississippi State baseball fan. But I tell you, they're up there too for Ole Miss and Southern Miss. And that's one thing that's fun about Mississippi is no other state in the Union supports college baseball like the people in Mississippi do collectively. And it's interesting, like if you attach to that statement per capita, well, of course, in a state with less than 3 million people total. And you got 2 of the top 5 attendances in the country in State and Ole Miss every year. Okay, Southern Miss, they're up there too, averaging 5,000-6,000 people a game at their games. And so, like, per capita, it's not even close. But you don't even have to say per capita. We just overall. Nobody supports college baseball like the state of Mississippi. It's unlike any other. That's why I love it around here. It's certainly great from a radio perspective. Okay, and Chris from Macon, before we jump into the NFL thing, he texted and said, okay, let's compare basketball to baseball. In 2018, we didn't have a lot of home runs, but we had the potential. Then we got the guy to unlock that potential, and look what happens in 2021. We get the fruit of having the guy to unlock the potential. All basketball needs is someone to unlock potential. All right, so that's a little bit of about an hour's worth of into what the mentality is. I think it's a really good cross-section of us state basketball fans of where, there's been some hope, but last night the hope just gets shot. You're out of the tournament, and you're just out. You're going to have to win the SEC tournament. And now we look ahead to the Super Bowl this weekend in the league where they play for pay. Well, the first one that did that. They're not the only one anymore, are they? Nope. Let's go. Okay, Rebel Rex. He's a Rams fan. He's a Rams man. He's been talking about the Rams all year long. And I can go back and look through all the text and prove it. But Rex says 31-24 Rams. Now, I'll let the cat out of the bag, Rex. I agree with you. I think the Rams are going to win the game. Now, I don't know what the spread is on the game. I frankly don't care. I'm not giving you my score prediction of the game just yet. But I am letting the cat out of the bag. I do think the Rams are going to win the football game. Tommy Anaheim says, the Bengals. And he's reminding me, he says, by the way, Chris Kiffin back to Cleveland. Yeah, if y'all didn't see that, Chris Kiffin, brother of Lane Kiffin, joined his coaching staff a couple of weeks ago. Today it's reported, he's back. He's going back to the NFL. He's going to go be on the Cleveland Browns coaching staff. And listen, y'all, I'm not telling you this like it's a fact that I know this from firsthand information behind the scenes having a source. But you're going to see, no, that's not the way. What you're seeing, it's happened at Auburn recently, I think. It's now happened at Ole Miss. There are some guys that are, wanting to coach in college and have wanted to. The money's good. And just as soon as they get a little bit of a taste of what recruiting is like now in the quote-unquote name, image, and likeness era, they go, I'm out. See ya. And they don't want anything to do with it. Hard to blame them. Yeah, no doubt. Boomer Sooner texts the show. He said, hey, man, if the weather today doesn't get you excited about and ready for baseball, then nothing will. And something's wrong with you. I agree. I just wish we were going to have – I hate to put a negative thought in there in baseball. I just wish we were going to have Major League Spring Training. To heck with it, though. We're getting college baseball. That's really all we need, right? All right, who says what? Somebody said – I saw a note over here. Here it is. Sven over in Germany says, I want to see Burrow win it all. He says, I say 24-21, late field goal, McPherson, and the Bengals win it all. So he's going Bengals to win it. Daniel, what did he say? Super Bowl. I got the Dodgers in extra innings. It's baseball time. Just kidding. Rams is my pick. Yeah, I'm going to go with Rams. If I had to put a score on it, you look at Cincinnati. You could accuse them of winning ugly, but in my mind, there's no such thing as an ugly win. It's just like they hadn't gone out here and run up 38 points on somebody. But they've been certainly good. I may be wrong about this, but I really feel like the Rams' defensive front is the difference in the ball game and will be. Yes, I know we saw Joku, Burrow, and that Cincinnati offense handle a game where they got sacked 9 times and still win it in these playoffs against Tennessee. But I just think Rams' defensive front is going to wind up being a difference in this ball game. I really do. You look at the matchup of a guy like Chase versus Ramsey. Chase is going to get his fair share, but I think Ramsey gets his too. There will be some coverage sacks in the ball game. And with that, you flip it to the other side. And that Cincinnati defense is good. They have proven that. They've proven they're probably underrated all year long. They are good. But I can't ignore what you've seen from Matthew Stafford and that Rams offense in these playoffs. Just go back to the first one. Go back to Tampa. The throws he made, the clutch stuff they did, and they're multidimensional. Can run the ball, do run the ball. Akers, you don't expect. He's already gotten his fumble game out of the way in these playoffs and lived to tell about it. Kupp, OBJ, other weapons with Stafford throwing a football the way he's played. Some of those clutch throws, that clutch throw at the end of the ball game in Tampa, he had Ndamukong Suh almost unblocked, bearing down on him, steps right into it, throws a perfect bomb up the field for 45 yards to Kupp. It's just, it's an iconic moment. You can't explain to you how impressive and how hard that is. And then, like that clutch at the end of the ball game slant the other night, that there against San Francisco, where there's literally a window about this big, about somewhere in the neighborhood of 14 inches. He sticks it in there in a perfect time, and we got a big completion, and you go and kick the field goal. It's not a heart decision at all. I got no heart in it. I just see the Rams having an advantage. That's just me. Some others do too. I'll tell you who it is. At ESPN, they have asked all of their analysts, writers, commentators, columnists, others to pick it. 64 different experts. The Rams were picked by 35 of them. That's 54%, 54.7%. And 29 voted for the Bengals. So it was close. 64 different people who follow and comment on football at ESPN. 35 votes for the Rams, 29 votes for the Bengals to win. For whatever that's worth. All right, let's go over to the phone line, the Divini Equipment phone line. Ready, Teddy on line 1. What's up, Teddy?
Well, Matt, I joked with you the other day about the T-ball title, and the truth is, nothing against Mississippi State. I'm not much of a baseball fan, and I'm not much of a Mississippi State fan. But one of our suppliers got us a suite at the Shucker Stadium in Biloxi to watch Texas Tech and Mississippi State play March 8th and 9th.
Yeah.
I will be a baseball-loving Mississippi State screaming fool.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, you just come on in. What was that line from Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Come on in, boys. The water's fine.
That's right. Yeah. I thought you'd get a kick out of that. I'm not a huge fan, but Hey, since we got a sweep, I'm your man.
That's great. That's great. We can do that. Hey, it's your fandom. You can do what you want to with it, Teddy. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, free stuff would make you come on over.
Free stuff. Yeah, hey, we bought him. That's basically what we did.
We reached out and bought him.
We purchased it. Thanks, Teddy. Always good to hear from you. Okay. All right. How about this? Hog fan with a W. H-A-W-G. Hog fan on the Country Pleasing text line. So you know where he's coming from, right? He said, Matt, he said, your baseball team won it all last year. No, he said your teams. He said your baseball teams won it all last year. That would be correct. In the same year, the Atlanta Braves win the World Series and the Mississippi State Bulldogs win the World Series. He said your baseball teams won it last year. This year, it's going to be the Cardinals and the Hogs. You know what, Hog fan? I should have played you the fight song when y'all beat Auburn in basketball the other day. I forgot to do it. Although, listen, you know, I'm not a math guy, and I'm not a superstitious guy, and I'm not really a big stats guy, Hog fan. However, this law of averages deal, I'm kind of a believer in that. The law of averages, like don't judge a team or a program when they're up. Don't necessarily judge them when they're down. But what kind of are they in the middle there? So I think you might have missed your chance. Last year getting beat by NC State. A few years ago dropping a pop-up. I hate to even bring it up for you, Hog fan. I'm just saying the window might have closed. That's what I'm saying. That might have been your up. Hey, Hog fan, in all honesty, man, Arkansas was so good last year in baseball. And with Cops. Sorry, I had football on the brain. Cop, you know who I'm talking about, the closer. Nobody could hit him. He was unreal. What did he get, like pitcher of the year or something like that? He was unreal. They had such a great team around him that Coach Dave Van Horn built. And under no circumstance did I think that team wouldn't make it to Omaha. The fact that NC State went in there and won in Fayetteville the way they did, just unbelievable. I didn't see that coming. Okay, and I'm going to be honest with you, Hog fan, again, about the College World Series, to take it one step further. Y'all remember, you can back it up. I said it last year. Up until the time that because of COVID, they sent NC State home, they looked like the best team in Omaha. Didn't they? And then they sent them home. Sure did. Shoot, man, they dressed out like 9 guys and gave Vandy a pretty decent game with Rocker on the mound. They looked like the best team out there. And it was the team that went to Fayetteville and won a super regional, mind you. So you talk about tough luck. Shoot, man, they had a really, really good baseball team at NC State last year, but Arkansas did too. Somebody texts and says, just saw that state lost a kicker that they got to the portal. Any info on why? No, I don't keep up with it. I don't know. How many kickers they have? They got a bunch of kickers. I don't know who it is, and I don't really know him. You know, when we get a roster for spring practice, then we'll talk about that stuff. But as far as in my estimation, portals and transfers and decommitments gets enough coverage they can do without mine. All right. Anything else on the football game? Somebody said Mike Hilton's playing good football. Bull Texans. Yeah, Mike Hilton is playing some good ball right now in the Bengals Here is Mike Hilton from Super Bowl Media Day.
I'm just confident in my ability. everybody, of course, knows me as a run stopper, a guy that can get to the quarterback and make plays behind the line of scrimmage. But I'm just as confident in my coverage ability. I'm able to take the ball away and take out teams' slot receiver and just do my part to help us win. So I believe in my all around game is second to none.
He's something else. You know what I love about Mike Hilton is he was, on some of those Ole Miss teams when, it's like people who want to talk about recruiting year round and all the conversation is painted with a brush that comes straight from the recruiting service people. So all they want to talk about is like, well, this guy's rated this, let's talk about him, or that guy's rated that, let's talk about him. Meanwhile, the Mike Hiltons of the world are outstanding players, are going to have long careers and win Super Bowls and make lots of money in the NFL. But nobody really talks about them in recruiting. And we should be talking about them in recruiting. But we don't. Nobody wants to talk about them. Because he's only got 3 stars beside his name. You know what? All that is a pile of crap. That's what it is. That's why I'm not wasting my time with it. Or yours. I mean, your time's more valuable than mine is. Especially collectively. But Mike Hilton, he was at a place at a time when everybody was talking about Kim Dichie and Tunsil and this quarterback and that receiver. And Mike Hilton, he outplayed most of them in college. And he's the only one still standing in the NFL with a chance to get a historic Super Bowl ring at a place like Cincinnati. He's another guy that's easy to pull for. Nobody wanted to talk about him. It's funny how that works. Hour 2 rolling along. Stay with me.
Now's the time to get a great deal on.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
For double enjoyment, reach for Beech Nut Peppermint Gum. It sparkles your smile, your breath, your whole sense of enjoyment. Beech Nut Peppermint in the familiar yellow pack.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt. Just answer the questions. BlueDeltaJeans.com. Answer the questions. Use this code. Use the code. You're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if, who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. cspire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Every farmer understands their farm can't thrive without some good partners like sun, soil, and rain. And farmers in North Mississippi also rely on another important partner, Mississippi Land Bank, because land and farm financing are Mississippi Land Bank's primary focus. We've grown alongside these farmers' crops for more than 100 years. We understand what a farmer needs, and we know the lay of the land in North Mississippi, and that's where I stand.
A lot of people in the equipment world, things kind of go in trends, I guess, if you want to say it. So kind of the first big thing that we look at when we start evaluating our business is going to be our turf equipment. That's kind of the first big push, because once everything, the water dries up and the grass starts growing, this is what everybody's looking to get. We carry the new Wright stand-up mower. Doesn't look like much, but this thing is, and it costs just as much as zero turn. Not a cheap unit at all. I mean, if you go out there and look at that zero turn, this thing right here, I mean, it's got all your components from your big pumps to your commercial engine to your large steel deck. And these guys were the first ones to make the standard mower.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Yes, always look for this Bird's Eye Bird, your guarantee of top quality frozen food. And your big Bird's Eye buy this week is Bird's Eye Orange Juice. Easy, you can serve it in a minute. Thrifty, it will save you money. Orchard fresh and delicious.
Better buy Bird's Eye. Better buy, better buy, better buy Bird's Eye.
Now, if you know your oats and want to feel your oats,
Brace yourself. Now back to the Matt Wyatt Show.
Let's get into some news and updates. Time's getting short here. We got about a half hour left, but I want to make sure we don't miss anything before the week is up. I will not be here tomorrow, and then we'll have Super Bowl Sunday, and then be back with you all on Monday and kind of recap, have a reaction Monday after the Rams beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl. I'm going to go with a score of 28-17. 28-17. That's probably low scoring, honestly. But I'll stick with that. I'll go 28-17. Rams beat the Bengals. And y'all come back here Monday and laugh and point and snicker and make fun when I'm wrong. Okay? 28-17 Rams. I think the defensive front for the Rams will be the difference in the game. I think Matthew Stafford has the high moment of his career. He looks like he's got the it factor this year. Of course, Burrow does too, but I'm going to go that way. That's what I'm going to go with. Patrick on Facebook says, what is the feeling on going all in on baseball and letting basketball fall by the wayside? And he says, or is there a way to have our cake and eat it too? Well, so Patrick, what are you asking? What are you asking? Are you saying, what is the feeling on going all in on baseball and letting basketball fall by the wayside? Are you saying fans doing that or administration doing that? Because if the question is in regards to, well, let me back up. If the question is you're assuming it fact that the administration has gone all in on baseball and let basketball fall by the wayside, well, that's just not true at all. In fact, they're getting ready to spend a whole lot of money renovating the basketball facility and the hump and all that, and they put the stuff out yesterday. So now there may be some fans who are doing that, but so what? They're going to go where the winds are. That's just kind of the way it's always been on that. A couple of news items. Here you go. You have the SEC football coaches meeting going on right now today in Birmingham. Yep. Somebody took a picture of Jimbo Fisher downtown Birmingham, got out of his car, and he was on the phone as he walked past some media as he went into the SEC headquarters building. Wouldn't it be great if he walked in and all the other coaches had on a red clown nose as he walked in there? Wouldn't that be great? I wouldn't put it past him. So anyway, football coaches. And Brian Harsin did come back from vacation in Mexico in time to make the meeting of the football coaches. So he's in the meeting as the football coach at Auburn in spite of all this ballyhoo that you've had now over the last week or so. And this, you need to know this, okay? Because you don't even need me to tell you. You can see it for yourself that Auburn has made a mess of stuff, right? And we talked about it earlier in the week.
He's a mess. And bring your brooms because it's a mess. I'm bringing my broom because you know why? It's a mess.
It's a mess. Okay, well, this is also a fact. You need to add this into the things you know and wonder about it. Yes, Trey, Brian Harsin, the Auburn coach, is at the meetings, the football coaches' meetings in Birmingham today. While Brian Harsin was away on vacation out of the country, Auburn posted a new school policy stating that all employees have a duty to cooperate fully and truthfully with investigations. Let that sink in just a minute. You hear what we're saying? They updated their policy after meeting with lawyers for a week to figure out how to fire this guy. They went in and updated their policy while he was on vacation, before he got back. Changed the university policy, put it in there, fixing to issue new copies of the handbook. Employees have a duty to cooperate fully and truthfully with investigations, inquiries, and reviews relating to their university responsibilities and professional obligations. For example, employees must do the following: cooperate in sharing requested information and participating in interviews, produce all requested university documentation within their custody or command, disclose additional information relevant to the investigation or review, and maintain confidentiality as advised. Put it in on Tuesday. Employees participating in an investigation or review are protected by applicable policies against retaliation. Employees shall be entitled to relevant legal protections in matters involving potential criminal conduct. Changed the whole thing for everybody at the university in the handbook on Tuesday. Working with the lawyers. You saw what happened. You see what happened. Get together. How do we fire the guy? This, that, and the other. We need to have an investigation. Well, to have an investigation, we've got to talk to him. And then we'll pile up the evidence, so on and so forth, and see what he says. And then we'll have him trapped. We can fire him for cause. It won't cost us any money. The lawyer goes, whoa. Wait a minute. This isn't really the wording in this thing right here, because he is an employee of the university. I don't know if it covers it clearly enough. You might need to think about changing this. What a mess.
Get out your vacuums, your dust mops, your Glass Plus, your bleaches, your Brasso, Wade air fresheners. Things are a mess. It's a mess.
Things are a mess. It's a mess. Speaking of messes, the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, is going to meet with the media today. I don't know if he's answering questions. I honestly don't know if it's a Q&A, but I know he's going to talk because he's going to come out of the owners' meetings and make some kind of statement. Nobody knows what he's going to say. We just know, like we said yesterday, that the owners in Major League Baseball, with the commissioner who works for the owners, had their own meetings yesterday in Orlando, and at the same exact time, the players were having their own meetings in Arizona. Now, if you don't think that's stupid, all right, I'm talking, they need to negotiate. The only two sides who are going to figure this out are the owners, commissioner and the owners, and the players. We got to get those two groups to the table to negotiate, figure something out in time to have a baseball season, right? That's what it is. Two groups, 1-2, let's get them. In fact, they are congregating, convening together at the same exact time. It's just that one's in Orlando and one's in Arizona, and they won't meet with each other. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. They are opposed. Now, I have something I would recommend to you There is a guy on YouTube named Matt Antonelli. He has a company called Antonelli Baseball. I really enjoy his content, and a lot of it is X's and O's and technique and drills and stuff, but there's a lot of other commentary. I think the guy's good. He's a former first-round draft pick. He did play in the major leagues, and he's been covering this too. And listen to what he said. As we go through this here on this show, I'm not ever probably going to sit down and spend an hour trying to educate myself and you at the same time on everything that they are dealing with in these conversations. But there are these different parts of their arguments that I don't really understand. And so a little here and a little there might help us all. It helps me. Well, here's one of the specific things, okay, that they're arguing about that Matt's explanation helped me to understand. Here, I want you to hear it right now.
So maybe we talk about service time manipulation, because this is a huge, huge, huge area of concern.
Service time manipulation. Have you ever heard them go, well, they're not going to bring Chris Bryant up until next year because they don't want to start his clock? Listen closely.
For the players and the players union. I think as fans, I think we all want the best players to be in the big leagues when they deserve to be there. There's less than 800 players on an active roster in Major League Baseball at any one time. This is the best 800 players, a little less than 800, but just under 800, the best players in the entire world. This is a very, 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 very small club. And so if you've deserved it, if you're a young player, doesn't matter what age you are, but if you've never been to the big leagues and you deserve to be in the big leagues, well then to have someone artificially say, nope, we're not going to let you up. We're not, because we don't want you to get paid more money down the road. To me, that's a big issue. And I think it's an easy way to make things better for everyone, because we all want to see the best players. We don't want to see some of the most talented players in the world get stuck in the minor leagues. The age of big league players is getting younger and younger and younger, but there's still players that are not getting called up because teams don't want to call them up, because then they're going to be arbitration eligible earlier than they want. And to me, that's not fair for the players. It's not fair for the fans. It's not fair for the game of baseball.
All right. Starting their clock. Did you understand any of that? It's just one thing that they're talking about in these negotiations. That's just one thing. But their service time manipulation, as they call it, going, look, the minor leagues are full of guys who actually are good enough to play Major League Baseball. They are good enough to get called up. They're good enough to come up and help a team win if they're trying to climb into the wild card picture or whatever. But the teams go, we're not bringing him up, because then in 3 years he gets to arbitration quicker. We got to pay him more money. We want to keep him. We got his rights till then. Let's just leave him down there in the minors for now. All about money. And the players are like, no. On that one in particular, I really would myself side with the players' argument on that. Y'all stick around.
Farm Bureau Insurance stands ready to provide financial relief to our communities in this time of crisis. This includes a one-time credit to all personal auto policyholders, a donation of $500,000 to the Mississippi Food Network, and additional payment options for those hit the hardest, all while continuing to service customer claims as well. But this is the time to go above and beyond. These are a few ways we're keeping the Farm Bureau promise. To learn more, talk to your agent or visit us online. Go with the home team.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
We are about to have a fire and cook some sausage. A country pleasing sausage is outstanding, whether you cook it over a fire or in the house. Cook some of this right here. It's green onion flavor. You see that? But this right here is my favorite, the maple flavor. And this is great for breakfast. It's awesome cooking it in the house because it makes the whole house smell good. Oh yeah. Let's eat country pleasing sausage, the best, hands down. If you go to countrypleasing.com, you can actually order this and deliver it to your house. Country pleasing sausage, hands down, the best. Trust me. Davini Equipment, Spring Ridge Road in Jackson, Highway 51 in Madison. Hey, y'all, let me tell you a little bit about C Spire. New stuff in 2021, including 5G coverage. If you go to their website right now, cspire.com, you're going to see their no bull, which, by the way, I love the Super Bowl ad with the slow motion bull. You're going to see that on the website. But look, they're right. There's been a lot of bull over the years in your wireless bill, depending on if you know who you were with. And my experience with C Spire is just like they say, there's no bull. I know what it's going to cost me each month. I know what my coverage is the number one coverage in Mississippi, period, the number one network. And they've got 5G phones that are 5G ready. Now, I have the new iPhone 12 Pro Max, got it at C Spire, went and did curbside at my local C Spire location and did the exchange where I traded in my old one, got the new one, and it's 5G capable. And we've got 5G coverage in parts of Mississippi, and it's just growing by the day. So you really ought to check that out, okay? And in terms of the new phones, you got deals going on those as well. Find those out at cspire.com. C Spire, customer inspired.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Jeans do come true. Blue Delta Jeans makes the best fitting, most comfortable jeans in the world because they are uniquely made for you and only you. Let's dive in and see what we have here. Do what I did. Visit BlueDeltaJeans.com. Find your fit, design a jean, and before you know it, you'll be addicted. Just for my listeners, enter discount code Matt Wyatt, all lowercase, BlueDeltaJeans.com. I just entered, what I knew about myself. I just answered the questions, and here they are. Nice. Yeah, Blue Delta. Just answered the questions, and they fit absolutely perfectly. They couldn't fit better. So just go online, BlueDeltaJeans.com, answer the questions, use this code. Use the code, you're going to get a discount. They are the most comfortable jeans I've ever worn, and I know that you are going to love them too.
Taller than his hair is.
Nice hair!
It's the Matt Wyatt Show on 105.9 The Zone and worldwide online at The Zone, 1059.com.
Back with you. All right, so Patrick wanted to clarify. He said, I should have been more clear. If the athletic department decided to invest more money in baseball and pull back on the scale of the hump renovation, would the fans be on board, and would it make financial sense? He says, I get the feeling people aren't attending basketball as much due to the feeling that baseball has a bigger future. Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. Like if you were, if you were to take a poll, Patrick, if you were to do some research, like if you were the AD and let's say you put out feelers or you researched everybody, you could email and say, please fill out this questionnaire or this poll or whatever, you probably would get from the fan base that right now, they probably do feel like, success anyway is a much more present reality for baseball than basketball. But I mean, men's basketball is a moneymaker, okay? And all it takes is the right coach with the right chemistry and the right fit and put a team together. And next thing you know, you're in the mix in the top 5 or so teams in the SEC, and you have a couple of years of that, and it gets good again all of a sudden, right? So it can happen. And the other thing is, too, you mentioned the hump renovations. It's almost like a responsibility thing. Okay, here's what I mean by that. It's not me taking a direct shot at Ole Miss. Ole Miss has one of the nicest arenas in the country now. The new pavilion there. If you haven't been there, you got to see it. It's unbelievable. But prior to that, they really stuck with the old thing way too long. Almost, they kept playing and practicing and playing in that tad pad there on their campus to the point that it was getting to the point of you're almost doing a disservice to your program, to your school, your university, to keep propping that thing up on wooden shaky wooden legs, and and to their credit, when they built a new one, they went big time to sort of time-proof that thing so that in 10, 15 years, you've still got one of the better arenas, and they do, and they will, but it had gotten to way past the point of it was almost a lack of responsibility in either moving or updating or building. When you looked out there and 4 or 5 years ago, they're still playing in a tad pad. Well, what you can't do at State is let it get to that point. So I don't care what the status of the program is right now on the floor in wins or losses. You got to update that thing. You got to make sure that in another 10 years, you're not sitting there with the same thing on your hands and it's gotten worse and another 10 years older. And now all of a sudden people are saying about you and your old facility what they used to say about Ole Miss and their old facility. So regardless of any of that, updating the facility is the right thing to do. And it's just my opinion. I'm not speaking for anyone, but that's kind of the way I feel about it. And there's an element too, if you're going to, let's say there is a coaching change. Hey, whoever that is, give that person, well, and it's, women's basketball too. If there are coaching changes, give those people every bit of ammunition they can, that you can spare on the recruiting trail for them that might help them to kickstart recruiting and kickstart the program and all that kind of stuff. All right. Super Bowl sound bites. I'll be out tomorrow. Be back with you for a Reaction Monday post Super Bowl. Here is Joe Burrow, Bengals quarterback. As a kid, he didn't want to be a quarterback.
I wanted to be a running back or a receiver. I don't know why. I guess I thought in Pee Wee football we weren't going to throw the ball very much, so I wanted to have the ball in my hand. Obviously, I'm glad it worked out the way that it did. This is my career. I don't know if I'd be an NFL wide receiver. That's probably a pipe dream, but I can play quarterback pretty well. And I think my favorite part about playing quarterback, there's great players at every position in the NFL, but I think only a few really affect the game in a drastic way. And I think quarterback is the one position on the field that can really affect the game on every single play. And I like having the ball in my hands every play and being able to win or lose with me.
Wanted to be a wide receiver. I can identify with that. Matt Stafford, it's the biggest game of his life, and he'll admit it.
There's still more to do, from a football standpoint for us. So, don't feel like we're at that point, right now. And I think the way Coach has this week planned out for us, I think he's going to have us primed and ready to go right when Sunday hits. So we're excited about that. Is there anticipation? Is there excitement? Absolutely. It's what you dream of doing when you're a kid out in the backyard playing catch with your dad is going out there and getting a chance to play in Super Bowl. So excited about that. Not downplaying that, but at the same time, Coach has a great plan for us. We got a bunch of guys that are veteran players who understand how to get themselves ready to go play football games, and this one's no different.
He says, though, get hyped up. Just don't overhype it.
You treat it just like every other game when it gets to that day. You got a job to do. You got a job to go out there and execute and try and lead your team to help us win. Once the ball's snapped, it's going to be football. Settle into the game as quickly as you possibly can and, trust your eyes, trust your teammates, and go play. I think that part of it, once the ball's snapped, is hopefully going to be the part that's, the easiest to just eliminate all distractions and go out and play.
Super Bowl Sunday. Here's something from the Wayback Machine. On this day, February the 10th, 1981, U.S. President Ronald Reagan, was filmed throughout the day for an NBC film, A Day in the Life of the President. Let's see, 12 years later, on this day, February 10th, 1993. Now listen closely. 1993. Michael Jackson gave his first interview in 15 years. He gave it to Oprah Winfrey. And in the interview, Michael Jackson claimed that he had a disorder that destroyed the pigmentation of the skin and that he had had very little plastic surgery. Bill, you remember when he did that interview?
Yes, I do.
I do too. Remember what he looked like?
Yes, I do.
He had a lot of plastic surgery.
Yeah, if you compared pictures from his first album and that latest album, oh my goodness.
Yeah, and he sat right there. No, I hadn't had hardly any plastic surgery. Almost no plastic surgery.
Oprah.
He'd had a lot of plastic surgery. I'll give him that.
A bunch.
And then on this day in 2015, NBC News suspended Brian Williams for 6 months without pay for his misrepresenting of events concerning an Iraq war story. The story was found to be untrue.
Bogus.
Hey, I'm looking at the wording on this deal, Bill, and I'm going like, why did they lead up to it this way? He is suspended 6 months without pay for, quote, misrepresenting the events concerning an Iraq war story. And then it goes right after it goes, the story was found to be untrue. It's a bold lie. That's what it was. The whole thing.
He lied.
Don't tell me about he misrepresented. That's like Roger Clemens misremembered in front of Congress. Hold on a minute. A needle about that long. Somebody jabbed you in the rear end and shot you up with steroids. But I might have misremembered that. Huh? What? You didn't misremember anything. On this day in 1969, LSU basketball star Pete Maravich scored. Pistol Pete scored 66 points in a game against Tulane and lost.
Yep.
He scored 66 points and Tulane beat LSU 101-94. Now that's what I'm talking about.
Only one touched the ball for LSU, I think. It seems like it.
I mean, he had to be. He had to be close to it.
He was something else. He could play some ball now.
Yeah, and then birthdays. The Shark Greg Norman. Today is his birthday. He was born in 1955. Okay, two-time British Open winner. Moose Johnson, the former fullback for the Cowboys. He was born in 66 on this day. And Brandon Woodruff, former Mississippi State pitcher, now the ace for the Milwaukee Brewers. He's from Wheeler, Mississippi. Today is Woody's birthday. Brandon Woodruff, February 10th, 1993, born right there in Prentiss County, Mississippi. Just thought I'd point that out. Okay, a couple other things before we wrap it up here on the text line. Country Please and Text. Delta Tide fan sent me a picture, and the man caught 2 bass today. He's holding them up there. Those keepers, they both look keepers, depending on where you are and what tournament you're fishing in, Tide fan. So, like, if that's if it's a 12-inch deal, those are 12 inches. Now, it might be 14, and if you were in a tournament where it's a 14-inch limit, then you're close. One of them looks like you got it. One of them going to be close. But 2 keepers.
I think he caught him in that pond behind him back there.
I bet he did. I'd like to go catch them with him. And then I said 2's better than none. He said he's going to bless somebody by giving them a couple of fish to eat for supper. 2 is not enough for me to clean, he says. But he did lose 3. Yeah, and I guess when it's cold and they're coming out of this cold weather stuff, sometimes the bite is not as sure as the others. Thanks for the text and the picture. Hook reminding us that they had a rain out in the Tad Pad twice. Unnamed texter says, win road games at Florida and Arkansas, and you'd have an 9,000 in the hump last night for that ball game. Fan support will return when fans think we have a chance to get into the NCAA tournament. It's easy to say, win at Florida, win at Arkansas. You watched Arkansas lately? That's a tough place to go play, for sure. All right, that'll wrap it up for us for the week, and y'all have a great long weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll break it down here on the show on Monday. See you then. For Bill, I'm Matt. Everybody here in the Farm Bureau Insurance Studio. See you Monday. See ya.